I'm Larry O'Connor alongside the equally effervescent Brian Wilson.
I'm just bubbly. Joining us now, Representative Jackie Walorski, for Republican from Indiana's 2nd Congressional District, a member of the House Veteran Affairs Committee. They had a hearing last night trying to figure out what went wrong at the VA. And Congresswoman Walorski, thank you for joining us. One of the things that you found out is there's still an awful lot of veterans who have not been able to see a doctor. According to the latest statistics that are available, as of May 15, some 57,000, almost 58,000 veterans had not seen a doctor.
Yeah, it was. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity. The meeting last night was really even more shocking than the meeting 2 weeks ago. I think it's because, one of the things that we found out last night was not only these huge waiting lists, but this investigation has shifted pedal to the criminal side. And I'm convinced when I left that meeting last night, the VA is never going to be able to reform this thing and to actually get themselves moving forward on their own.
Really? You think it's hopeless? It's hopeless?
Well, I think outside hospital administrators, they're going to have some of the best in the nation lend their energy and time into helping these guys at the VA even sort this out. There are 69 rapid response teams that were deployed, according to the Inspector General, around this country on criminal allegations inside facilities, 69 facilities. So this is growing so exponentially, there is no way the VA is going to be able to sort it out because the criminal component has to be rooted out first, or they're never going to fix it. In fact, the IG said last night that until somebody's prosecuted and goes to jail, until many people are fired, that they're still gaming the system. And that's just shocking.
Representative Walorski, first of all, I want to thank you and Chairman Miller for staying on this. A lot of people feared that after Secretary Shinseki announced his resignation, and then with this town getting distracted by the Bergdahl story, that this would just fall to the back pages. So thank you, first of all, for your hearing last night. There were a couple of things that really caught my eye when I saw some of the testimony, and that was from Philip Magkovsky, one of the top officials at the VA. He said that, and I'm quoting him now, there's an integrity issue here among some of our leaders. An integrity issue. That means there's liars and cheaters running the VA. Is that, am I interpreting that right?
Well, the Inspector General sat right next to Magkovsky last night and basically said to the committee, this is a systemic leadership failure. And that's what I'm saying. And when he started talking about the criminal element, I'm saying as an observer on the committee that they are not going to be able to straighten this out themselves. They're going to have to bring experts in from this field, and they're going to have to remove a large amount of leadership. And
you keep saying criminal element. The Attorney General said that this is not an issue that the DOJ is looking at this time. Is it time for him to rethink that based on last night's hearing?
I think this is the time where the FBI has to take the lead, and the reason this is staying in the public eye and the reason there's fuel to this fire is because this is bipartisan. This is not a partisan attack. This is fact, line upon line, precept upon precept. And, if the DOJ doesn't understand that this is a complete use of fraudulent use of taxpayer dollars, that does put him in the arena, and that does put this situation in his arena. This is criminal. It has to be looked at right now. It's criminal, and they've got to get to the bottom of this and root out the criminal element of leadership. It is nationwide, and I think this story is going to get darker as we go.
Well, I think you may be right. But, you say that it's a bipartisan effort on Capitol Hill, but this happened on the Obama administration's watch.
Absolutely.
And so it would be, but I would think they would be very reluctant to have a big, heavy investigation of this matter because they ultimately would be held responsible.
Well, this is a matter of seeking the truth out, and I think the truth is screaming right now, and it's going to be hard for them to plug their ears on this issue. But the other issue here, you guys, is the Senate has still not even taken up the bill that we passed in a bipartisan vote last night, the Veterans Accountability Act, is still sitting at the Senate as they're trying to come up with some brand new grand scheme, grand bill, grand whatever. There's 14 bills sitting over there, including this VA Accountability Act, that they refuse to move. And I think the American people are getting very, very upset and tired of the House carrying the ball and the Senate refusing to engage in this process.
I'm troubled by a story I read in the Washington Examiner. You had the Inspector General there last night. The Inspector General has subpoenaed the Project on Government Oversight, which is sort of this watchdog group that brought a lot of this to the public's attention. And they have the IG has asked for emails, notes, appointment books, tapes, recordings, phone call records of the project on government oversight, it would seem to me what they're most interested in is finding the whistleblowers and punishing them rather than dealing with the problem at hand.
That's why I have no confidence in the VA being able to turn this around on their own. That's why this is a criminal investigation. It's at the criminal level, and they're going to have, I think, action by the president. They're going to have the Senate engaged, and because this is a bipartisan issue and affects really the entire nation of veterans, I think the American people are going to help us hold their feet to the fire. But if we just go along like we're going along and unveiling all of these unbelievable stories and facts, then we're not going to get down to the solution level. We're not going to be able to put this thing back together until we root out the criminal element. And what we heard last night is the criminal element right now is the story. The 69 rapid response teams around this country, and we've got to have Eric Holder step up and not only just look into this as a spectator, but literally arrest people, put them in jail. And back to what the IG said last night, he said that'll be the shot around the world when the first person goes to prison. It's going to happen. That's exactly what is wrong right now in this VA system. It's fraudulent use of tax dollars. It's the death of veterans. It's a complete loss of integrity in the system, and you can't possibly rebuild it with the same leadership that's there all over the nation.
We are talking to Representative Jackie Walorski. She's a Republican from Indiana's 2nd Congressional District. She's on the Veterans Affairs Committee in the House, and you've really taken the lead and been a frequent guest here as this story develops, and I appreciate it. Let's get back to the vets. I respect and understand that you want to focus on the criminal element here and what needs to get done to punish those who have been wrong. But let's talk about what we're doing for these vets. I mean, 57,000 vets waiting more than over 90 days to see a doctor for their very first appointment. Are you confident that the infrastructure is in place to be able to accommodate these vets now? What are we doing to help them? What can we do to help them?
I'm not confident, and we pressed them last night on that question, and they just basically kept saying that they're reaching out. They've reached out to 50,000 so far. They're going to, in the next couple of days, reach out to the rest of them, and they're going to make accommodation for them. But they were very circular in their answers. And when we pressed them on, can't you just give them permission to go to the doctor of their choice right now? And that was a very circular answer from them, as in they really haven't come up with how they're going to deal with this yet.
Who has the power? Can the executive branch do they have the power to do that? Can President Obama just sign, and you know how he likes to use his pen? Can he just say, here, vets can go get private care and we'll reimburse you, or we'll pay for it up front? Or does that have to come from Congress?
Well, I think you've answered your own question. The president does this on a variety of occasions where he just takes his pen and he overrides the entire law and government. So I think that's up to him.
Why not use that pen to help the vets?
He does whatever he wants to do on some of these situations. So when you're talking about the lives of our veterans, I think we should be moving both, every mountain in front of us right now to get them the care that they need and they desire, because there's a litany of problems standing in line, and obviously some of them could be terminal.
Well, I'm glad you're staying on the story. Please know that we want to stay on the story. If you got more to say, pick up the phone. We'd love to have you back.
Thanks so much, guys.